I'm here to talk about why your fire department needs a common operational picture and why a common operational platform can help you get there. How it can enhance your coordination and response, how it's enhanced our response, and we'll kind of go from there. So, quick disclaimer, these are my thoughts, opinions, conversations, don't represent the opinions of the Orange County Fire Authority, FEMA, or the United States government. Move through that pretty quickly. So I'm from Orange County Fire Authority. I'm 29 years in the fire service. I'm a division chief. I oversee fire services in the city of Yorba Linda, Tustin, and Villa Park. I'm also one of the emerging technology liaisons. For those technologists in the room, I'm the API between the IT department and field operations to help everyone understand what the operators in the field need. So Orange County is in Southern California, as you can see, just nestled south of LA and just north of San Diego. And while we do have palm trees and coastal beaches, we also have a lot of structure fires and a lot of vegetation fires. Orange County Fire covers 23 different cities and unincorporated area. The county has about 3 million people. We service about 75% of that, which is about 2 million. 71 engines, 16 truck companies, crash fire rescue, hazmat, kind of all those things. We're a joint powers authority, so we're separate from the county, but also the same. So why do we need a common operational picture? A common operational picture is the common understanding between your firefighters on the ground, your chief officers, your leadership, your elected officials. Common operational pictures are important so we can make appropriate decisions based on the folks that are on the ground and understanding what's going on. And those are important, especially as you get into higher complexity incidents. The Surfside building collapse, the airport fire, Hurricane Helene, Hurricane Maria, you name it, the Oso mudslide, all these incidents happen in your communities. They happen in my community. They're all very high complexity. There's a lot of things going on. So how do we make decisions at the incident commander level, or at the division supervisor level, or at the division alpha or bravo level that is the safest, most efficient decisions for our people? We do that with information. We do that by coalescing a bunch of information together and giving you all the information that you need. In the past, we've had to do that with swags, sophisticated wild-ass guesses, right? But the speakers this morning have talked a lot about data. So what we want to do is bring in, or continue to bring in, or enhance data-supported decision-making, right? So to give you 80 or 90% of the information that's available, because it's out there, right? People are on their phones, they're video recording, your firefighters have cameras on them, there's drones up. All of that information, probably more than ever before, can give you a 360 understanding of your incidents. So now, as an incident commander sitting at the back of your truck or in your buggy or wherever you're at, being able to reconcile all that information is kind of the whole impetus of this talk. For those in the room, raise your hand if you already use a common operational picture or platform. Sweet, I'm out of here. So all of that, we're going to talk about some of the challenges, we'll talk about some of the benefits, and then what's going on with the future, and that'll just enhance the conversations that you've already heard this morning. In order to understand what a COP is, you really have to understand what it does. It creates cooperation, it builds relationships. The fire service, law enforcement, public safety, are relational businesses, right? The last time you want to meet somebody is the first time, right? You want to understand. You want to say, hey, how are you? How's the family? Not, hey, I'm so and so. So our incidents are driven by relationships, and relationships are built by trust and a common understanding. That's what common operational platforms and pictures do for you. The whole piece is built around access to information. Who in this room utilizes drones to collect information? Your agencies utilize drones. How about cameras? Right? These are all a lot of these things are open source information, or within your agencies or entities already, and it's all derived around improving your operational efficiency and improving your decision making. Real-time data sharing, user-friendly interfaces. Right? Anybody in here using iPads in their command vehicles? Raise your hands. Yeah. because they're super user interface, right? Or if you're using other operational platforms, if you're using Esri, you're using Terra, you're using Tablet Command, First Do, there's tons and tons of operational platforms out there. Much like on your phones right now, you don't use one application for everything. You have one for transport, you have one for food, one for coffee, one for mapping. And so the fire service and how our decision makers are doing it is based around a suite of applications to build that common understanding. How they differ. In the past, we've always used common operational pictures. We've always used common operational platforms, but 10 years ago, they looked like flat maps. You printed out a map, or you used a marker, you drew it on the ground, you drew it on a wall to get a common understanding of an incident or a disaster or whatever. And now we're starting to integrate a holistic view, bringing all those data sets, all those data sources in, so incident commanders or your leadership you can take that information and make decisions based on the most latest, greatest information. So some of the challenges, we get a lot of siloing of information, lack of coordination. It's as simple as, in your communities, if the law enforcement incident commander and the fire incident commander do not park together, you get fragmentation of information, you get fragmentation of communication. You don't have a common understanding. Just as simple as co-location and utilizing some technology, an iPad with some other common operational platform to give you a common understanding of the threats, the challenges that your personnel are facing. Misunderstanding, not aware of resource delays. You put a resource request in, how long are those resources going to take to get there? What are their capabilities? Are they stopped in traffic? Are you making decisions based on information that is not accurate? And then if you lose critical information or you just can't process all that information coming at one time. 3 or 4 years ago, we need a common operational platform. We need a common operational platform. Now we have 1,700 common operational platforms. So now we have to whittle it down and just utilize a few that give you access to all those data sets, all that information, because ultimately we're trying to marry the information you need with where you're at in decision space and where you're at on incidents to combine that so ultimately you can make the best, most efficient, most effective, and safest decisions for your folks. We've talked a lot about decision making. Information allows you to make informed decisions. Putting a drone up and getting that information real time allows you to make decisions based on the holistic picture of the incident, right? For the fire officers in the room, doing a 360 of an incident is really critical, right? You need to understand what's around the Alpha side, the Charlie side, the Bravo side, or the however you name your incidents. But getting that understanding, well, now you have access to drone footage that gives you the overarching view of the whole incident. You have a better understanding of where fires are at, where significant damage is at, if you're at a disaster. You can get all that information and reconcile it and then share it real time with partners or other leaders on your incidents. Understanding your vehicle locations. We probably had AVL in most of our vehicles for a decade, but are you tracking your firefighters right now? Do you know where they are as soon as they step off the vehicles? That's the next generation, right? Tracking our personnel. Take it a step further, the panacea. You want to track them, you want to see the video, you want to see their heart rates, their temperatures. Having a holistic understanding, a common understanding with all your leadership of where your vehicles are, where your people are, organizationally and physically, that's all accessible through common operational systems. For us, a common operational system became very important on the airport fire in September of 2024. 23,000 acres, 160 structures lost. Orange County Fire was the initial responder with the Cleveland National Forest. Most of the fire was in federal responsibility area, a couple thousand acres in state responsibility area. But until you can overlay whose responsibility area it is or jurisdiction, understand where your incident is, where your fire's at. Is it going over the next ridge? How far is it moving? and then understand where your fleet of apparatus and personnel is, that's when you can really start to make informed decisions. You'll see the fire perimeter there. That's based on FIRIS, which is Fire Integrated Real-Time Information System. Basically, it's a fixed-wing aircraft that flies well above 5,000 or 10,000 feet and gathers information, fire perimeters that we've been trying to gather for 50 years. We've been trying to answer these three questions. Where's the fire at? Where is it going? And who's threatened? So now we have all that information, and for us, it's access through tablet command and a few other common operational platforms. But coalescing all that information, we never had that before. That's all new. So future trends, we've talked a lot about analytics, taking all that information, your response time information, your nearest information, putting that back into your COP, making it predictive, making us assign more appropriate resources, utilizing advanced mapping capabilities, real-time traffic. And then probably the most important thing, if you take away nothing from this conversation, anytime you're dealing with technology, we should be talking about integration. How does it integrate with another technology? Because we have lots and lots of silos of information. What we really need is integration. We've heard interoperability for years and years and years, but it needs to be a verb, not an adjective. It needs to be an action. It needs to be interoperable with other systems and processes. That's where you really get the synergism. You really get the increase in activity when you can take your flight following information and combine it with your tracking of your firefighters and your vehicles. Talked a little bit about drones. That's where we're at. That's where our environment is going. Last week I was speaking to a congressional subcommittee about emerging technology and drones. And our fires, the Palisades fire, for example, just north of Orange County Fire, had 700 drone incursions into their operating area. So they're trying to operate helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft, and there's non-public safety drones impeding into that fire traffic area. 700 different drones. So there are also opportunities for us to identify threats to our personnel, threats to our incidents, and utilizing common operational pictures. That way, you can task out law enforcement to go address those concerns. As we start to evolve in the next 5 and 10 years, and we talk about the Internet of Things and tracking autonomous vehicles, autonomous helicopters, drones, and how all these vehicles operate together, you are going to visualize those through common operational pictures and platforms. Talked a little bit about FIRIS, talk a little bit about artificial intelligence. Most of California is using AI cameras. There's 1,048 artificial intelligence cameras. They do a 2-minute spin around every area in California, and they take 120 million images a day. Based on those images, they're using artificial intelligence to notify us when they see pixelation changes. Those pixelation changes indicate that there's smoke or fire. We're launching a full response, 46 units, fixed wing helicopters, the whole thing based on smoke identification. So we're already doing all this already. You're already doing all this already. It's much more about putting it all together. Everything we do, talking about common operational pictures in the field, in the dirt, in the mud, in the flood, is foundationally attached to connectivity. But we're there. There's a lot of low Earth orbit opportunities to have connectivity for all your systems and processes and technology. Shortly we'll have SAT to cell, which will also improve your connectivity. So we've made great strides. You can go to Best Buy, buy a device, throw it on your dash of your vehicle, and you have connectivity pretty much anywhere you go on the planet. That is a foundational building block for your folks and their leadership and their data-supported incident decision-making. So as leaders, if you're not already focusing on connectivity and having primary, alternate, contingency, and emergency plans for connectivity, you should be thinking that way, because everything is kind of built on that foundation. The evolving landscape. Disasters are getting more severe, they're getting more frequent, They're occurring in all of our communities. It doesn't matter if it's a wildfire in California, a flood in Kentucky, a hurricane in Florida, or a building collapse in Florida. These are all happening in our communities, and they're increasing in severity and they're increasing in frequency. So there's a driver there that we all need to be more prepared. We all need to drive forward in integration and interoperability. A couple closing thoughts. Common operational pictures, common operational platforms. These are essential items for our enhanced coordination between different agencies, local, state, federal, and different levels of the fire service. Fire departments need to have the ability to reconcile massive amounts of information because it's already available, it's already coming at you right now. And agencies that continue to evolve will be more effective and will be safer in the modern fire service. Sorry, it's a lot to jam into 16 minutes. Catch me during the conference. I'm happy to take a deep dive or after hours. Here's my information if you want to reach back. I really appreciate your time today and interest. Thank you.